Thank you for watching Valor Studios on YouTube. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
The air is thick with greasy smog on the lower levels of the skydock, where burly workers haul cargo through the smoke, their coarse laughter ringing out like foghorns at sea, guiding each other through the gloom. Metallic clangs echo from the repair shops all around you. Old hobnail boots pound the gantry, curses of effort are bellowed, and heavy crates are heaved into position. It is the cold, wee morning, a good hour before sunrise, and you stand at the heartbeat of the aether ship docks. Through the smoke and the fog, a figure approaches. Hester, please describe yourself.
Hester is winded. We've been moving quickly. Up close, you might notice that she's a bit strange looking. There's like an icy quality to her skin, and maybe if you get close enough, we do have an amorous hindrance here, you might find that it actually is some kind of permafrost effect. There's a lot of monochromatic stuff going on here, white on white on white on white on blue. And she is wearing men's clothing. And there is something sparkling, maybe in the folds of her coat, through her vest, by her jacket, but we can't quite tell what it is.
Winded, you pause at the bottom of the gantry, marked with the number that the crew that hauled you out of that tavern mentioned that you should run for. In fact, as you turn to look back into the smoke to see if anyone has made it there with you or caught up to you, more likely, a large, shadowy figure looms out of the smoke and fog, broad-chested, red as cherry tomato, broad horns, comes stomping on his demon-like hooves. Zeal, or Zeth, describe yourself.
Zeth is a large Hakari. He is an alien that looks something like a minotaur, but there's no hair on his body. It's this smooth red, deep dark red with blue markings, somewhat like tiger striping or similar, but they almost have the appearance of tattoos that accent his skin tone. He is wearing coveralls and a ratty shirt. There is a blast hole in his shoulder from where he was just struck. He's stands comfortably in his skin, but he moves with determination wherever he's going. He doesn't seem to be the kind of person that wastes energy. And so he doesn't seem winded. He seems like almost like he's plodding along, but he's not. He seems quite comfortable, and he looks over at Hester as if to see if she's all right.
Mm-hmm. Do you say anything? Either of you?
Esther is adjusting herself, not speaking.
Well, we made it to our ship, and ow, I think I need to see the doctor.
Then we best get going.
On this moment, close behind, comes the clipping sound of porcelain on stone. And then appearing out of the gloom and darkness and smoke is the historian, Iris. Describe a historian.
Iris is very tall, and she is mostly porcelain, but you can see some cog work here and there, both in the things that she wears and that seem to be a part of her body. She is well-dressed, wearing fine clothing. You can tell by looking at it that it is fine material. But for as much as she tries to be put together, she seems a little bit frazzled in her, you can't know for sure, but what it really is just in her curiosity and her determination and her drive. And she looks a little bit worse for the wear right now as well, and she's kind of upset, and she's brushing her jacket off, and she says, if I have never been treated in such a manner. I have 2 legs and I am fully capable of using them myself. Thank you very much. And on top of that, I was about to handle a situation all by myself while all of you just ran away. You just ran away. I promise you this, the captain will be hearing about it.
The two that figures that first arrived here, do you remain speechless, or do you say anything to the historian, or do you? No, all right.
Zeth looks over at her and just kind of shrugs, like he doesn't. I don't even know if he realizes she's talking to him, and if she is, he's probably at this point like there's so many other things on his mind. And he's like, "Okay, lady, we made it." I mean, this is what he's thinking. Like, we made it to this ship. I'm not sure what the problem is.
It's time for me to lay low.
Oh.
Back into the shadows I go.
Silently and suddenly, you realize that there is a fourth among you. You do not remember when she appeared out of the smoke and fog. She is just there. Bronwyn, please introduce yourself.
Bronwyn is a tall and slim Nari. She is a plant person, but she appears human. She has kind of like the brownish skin and kind of green accents all over her face. Her hair is made up of these really beautiful kind of dark, thick leaves that are in a really beautiful, kind of wavy pattern. And she's got a very like sexy outfit on, which definitely is like her uniform, so to speak, as a courtesan. She has a very small amount of luggage on her, just like a little hand bag type of situation. And she's not as breathless as the others. She kind of just saw everyone talking and just moved into position. She really likes to observe. So that's what she's doing. She's just standing there watching the drama, and it's giving her great joy and pleasure to see this Hakar get his red ass chewed out by the historian.
It is a moment or two that passes as the four of you stare at each other before the last member of your little soiree arrives. His legs shorter, do not carry him as fast as the rest of you. But he does eventually come clipping along into the light of the gantry.
Karen raises up one arm. In it is a lantern. It reveals his blue face and his blue antennae that reach over to his bowler cap. Below that, you can see a dapperly dressed, sort of beetle-like insectoid creature. His eyes yellow in color and his accoutrements lowered, more purple, blacker finery. In one hand is a cane that he clops along with, and below that, his two smaller appendages. One holding a bolt in hand, flicks it to the side, and a satisfying tink rolls down the cobbles.
I didn't think I'd catch up to the lot of you before the ship took off. Why are you all still out here? Let's get a move on.
At least one of us has some sense.
So you move into the gantry tower and activate a small lever inside the elevating cage to carry you up a couple of flights into the air. The clacking of chain and gear work kicks in as it begins to shakily move itself up the gantry, and then comes to a shudder and a stop at the second story of it. As you exit, you see a vague shadow in the distance. Through the smoke and the fog, and then dramatically a series of navigation lights start snapping on with a boom, 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 illuminating a Samson-class frigate sitting in the steam and smoke. It looks about 200 feet long, tip to tail, 7 decks belly to spine, counting the external structures. Control's cabin sits mounted to the top of the central flattened cigar shape, which sits moored at midpoint to the gangway. Its skin is the silvery gray of unpainted calvarite, calvarite being the crystal-infused metal alloy that, when agitated with proper harmonic vibrations, will shield a ship from the gravity of a planet. And it is the core technology that allows for interplanetary vessels. The bulk of the ship hovers, weightless, at the end of the gangway, held in place only by the port side mooring ropes. The outboard propellers are beginning to cycle through takeoff checks, first to the left, then the right, port and starboard. Through the fog below, you can make out additional cargo gondola strapped to the belly of the ship, its main doors wide open as the last-minute crates are loaded in by dock crews. And the last of the lights snap on, revealing the ship's name emblazoned along its side in gentle, curving letters. The light of day. You cross out onto the gantry, over to the ship, eventually reaching a bulkhead door that sits open. Astride the door, waiting, in a almost militaristic rigidity, a pocket watch in one clawed hand, stands a barrel-like figure, short and wide. Another insectoid, Zexiel. This one dressed in a fur-lined ornamental greatcoat, cinched with a wide belt from which hangs a well-polished clockwork pistol. A broad leather holster slung low on his hips. This one's chitinous skin is green iridescence, with touches of purple and gold. And his twilight blue faceted eyes glitter as they catch the ship's light, creating the feeling as you approach that you are staring into a star-filled night sky. As you approach, he speaks calmly, but to the point. I see you have found our wayward supercargo. Turning to the...
it took us a while, Captain. Sorry about that.
How do you do? I am Captain Clickzeek Zuan. Welcome the light of day.
Thank you for being a bit kinder than your crew here, who very rudely picked me up. I am here to grace your ship with my presence.
To be fair, that guy was shooting. Look what he did to my shoulder, and I
could
just
have
didn't
handled
want I didn't want one of our passengers to get injured. It just seemed like the honorable thing to do in the moment.
Yes, Zath, I agree. I understand. Your dedication to the work is admirable. My grace, he says, turning towards the historian, I am so sorry for the inconvenience of you being carried. Please come inside and you'll be shown to your staterooms.
Well, thank you.
He turns to the plant woman, Nari, Bronwyn. He goes, my dear, I do not believe we have met. Are you here to book passage aboard the ship?
No, I'm supposed to be here. I look at him with a little bit of intensity. He doesn't know me, but I know him.
He his antenna twitch, and he turns towards Corin and says, were you followed?
We were.
Well then,
They won't be here soon.
best we be on our way before we miss our moment then.
Yes, I think that's
Indeed.
the very thing to do.
Come on. Come
I'll
aboard.
be in the engine room.
He turns last, as they begin to file in, turns last to Hester and goes, you would be Hester.
They don't know.
We'll keep it quiet then. You make sure that you all board before stepping on into the light of day and sealing the hatch. Once you're inside, there's a bit of a bustle as crew begin to move to all their stations about the ship. You are quickly shown to some staterooms or to an observation deck if you'd prefer, where you can watch the ship as it begins to take off. You can hear the thrumming of the engine fire up. Zeth, are taken to the ship's surgeon to get patched up from your little injury. And within a few moments, the ship is unleashed from the docks, pulls away. You can feel a short, quick lurch as the gravity of the planet interacts with the gravity of the newfound gravity of the ship as it begins to pull away. And then there is a slight feeling of acceleration before the ship lifts up and begins to soar above the city and off through the clouds and then into the darkness of the aether beyond. You watch as the world grows smaller and smaller until you can make out only the continent, and then just oceans, and then clouds, and then just a dot in the blackness of the ether space. As the ship finally sets on its way, you are given a visit from the member of the crew who says that once you're settled, the captain would, of course, like to invite you all to sit at his table so you can discuss the journey, which will be in a few hours. In the meantime, you have the run of the ship. What would each of you like to do?
I go down to the bar to see if there are any patrons that I can find.
All right, so you go looking for such a thing. Iris, what is your intention?
Iris would go and get settled first, and then once she had been left alone, she would start poking around the ship, trying to see what she can find.
Okay. And Esther, what is your
Esther
intention?
spends probably 15 minutes in the observation deck just watching the port fall back, unwinding, just observing and appreciating the distance, but being wary of anybody that's nosy. And probably going to squirrel away to a stateroom after that.
All right. Zeth, you're getting patched up by the ship's surgeon, and the captain has a small conversation with you and with Corin. You're standing there in the same room as Zeth is getting sewn up, wincing from the surgeon's needle. He goes, "So, what happened?"
We were found in the small place that we were to meet them at. I believe the Inquisition.
Yeah,
Inquisitor,
there
at least.
was a really kind of a jerk. He was yelling and screaming and blowing a whistle, and he shot me. And I think he was trying to shoot at one of our guests, which is why, well, I couldn't let that happen. So I kind of got in the way, which I realized was probably not the best thing for me personally, but yeah.
Well,
I didn't want one of them to get injured before they even got on board. That wouldn't do.
I thank you. You did well. And any chance they knew which ship you were heading for?
I wouldn't
don't-
believe so.
Yeah, I don't think so, Captain. There's no reason that they should.
Good. A historian, eh? I was not expecting that. It complicates things.
Yeah, I don't think she likes me very much. I was just trying to be helpful, but it didn't work out the way I thought it would. I don't know much about her. You know, I have better conversations with the machines than people sometimes.
Well, rest well, my friend. And the captain turns and as he's leaving the room, he looks back over his shoulder and he says, "Corin, please follow."
Of course.
Plonk, plonk, plonk.
As the two of you walk through the corridors of the ship, he's clearly making a way towards the bridge. And he goes, Hester is one of my projects. We need to make sure that she is kept safe. And her identity is protected. Although I suspect the historian may already know a bit of what's going on if you were attacked by a witch finder. Now,
Yes.
the other one, where did she come from?
The Nari,
Yes.
she joined us afterwards. She was there, but I barely saw sight. I was much to meet our guest first. I'm not too sure.
Oh, I guess we'll see what happens.
I could always consult the spirits to see if they have any advice.
It might be worth it. Let's see how dinner goes. No need to get intrusive this early.
Of course.
Captain reaches the bridge, gets up to the helm, begins calling out some orders as he steers the ship towards the local ley line point. And as the ship approaches, You can feel a sort of a sense of acceleration, as if suddenly the ship is falling down a well or rushing over a waterfall. But once it's crossed the ley line transition point, the sensation of this vast acceleration seems to fade and just becomes a sort of a background noise. And you are well and truly on your way to another solar system. So as Bronwyn tries to hunt around for some sort of bar in the place, you realize this rather large ship is mostly dedicated to cargo and narrow corridors. There are about 15 crew, give or take, amongst the whole ship. Almost all of them are human, aside from one other Hakaran, other than the one that brought you here. Until you get directed towards a sort of communal mess hall for the crew, where there are some tables set up and where drinks can be made. And when you get there, you see the only other non-human member of the crew that you have encountered, other than the Hakar, and that is a massive 8-foot tall, 6-foot wide, gray-skinned Strassen warrior caste. This giant shark man with a mouth as wide, with a mouth wider than the teeth that reside in it, and tiny black beady eyes that glare at you like a doll. And he smiles and he goes, "Would you like a drink?"
I kind of like look around to see if it feels safe. I like feeling safe. And realizing I'm in this mess hall, there's a lot of people around. I kind of just walk up to him, but I make sure that when I see that glint in his eyes, instead of just my regular walk, I kind of sashay up to him, kind of swinging my lower half seductively. And I arrive at the table. May I sit with you?
Oh, sure. I am Gregor.
Nice to meet you, Greggy. My name is Bronwyn.
Okay. I make drink.
Please.
Yeah. What do you like? Gregor Bloodtooth, best cook on ship. Only cook on ship.
I mean, I like an old-fashioned if you have that.
He looks off into the distance, thinking, and goes,
I make something old-fashioned. Yes.
Good enough. So like I look at him and I put my hand on his fin. His fin hands or regular hands?
He's got the 3-fingered hands webbing in between them that come to the sharp little claw tips and stuff. Yeah, it does also have a fairly large dorsal fin that comes off his back.
Okay, so I put my hand on top of his shark mitt.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like lean forward a little bit and I look up at him with like really big eyes. And I go, so Greggy, where can a girl get into a little trouble on this ship?
Whoa, what kind of trouble?
No.
You little Nari woman.
Seeing the sides, maybe with a handsome gent by your side.
Oh, well, you come to the right place. Gregor most handsome on ship.
I can see that.
Everyone else soft and squishy.
No, us Nari, we like a real man. As long as you're not a Hakar.
Yeah, Hakar.
That's right.
He pours a drink for you. It's maybe in the general ballpark of an old-fashioned. He looks like he's seen other people make stuff like it before in the past.
Okay.
He goes, here you go. He's good.
I look at it and kind of swish it around and look back up at him. and like meeting his eyes, I just like expertly just like take a big gulp of it. And I stare him like right in the eyes, like just like kind of like take a taste. Wow, you sure are accomplished. So
He seems like he sits back and kind of beams. I am accomplished.
you sure are. Where can I find the best place to, I don't know, look out at space?
I take you to observation rooms. You come with Gregor. Gregor show you. Gregor, best tour guide on ship.
Greggy, I love a man with lots of skills.
As you get there, you weave to one of the side portholes. There's a whole section of the ship that's just lined with windows so that you can stare out at the ether as it goes past. You see that there is a second figure already here. The woman that was attracted all that attention back in the tavern on your way here, with the white hair.
I take.
She's pressed up against the glass, staring out into space as you guys approach.
So I'm very curious, and I don't want to, having been asked all those questions by Captain Click, I don't want to just kind of overstay my welcome in any one spot. So I'm thrilled to see this person that I've been very curious about just sitting there. Like it feels like it's meant to be. I pat him on his shoulder and I like lean up and give him a little peck on the cheek. And I say, why don't you come see me when it's quitting time?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Gregor must go prepare dinner.
Thanks, honey.
I see you again.
Anytime.
Gregor best. He kind of waddles off. Yeah, you know, he has to always move sideways through door frames. He's just too wide to fit through them normally. And he kind of pads off into the some other part of the ship.
I look over at Hester, and like I can't quite keep myself from just kind of eyeing her. I don't see a lot of people who look different there, and I see her, and
she's human, but there's a strange pallor to her skin and her hair, and there's a strange color, and glittering to the surface of her skin that almost looks like frost.
I look over at her and I kind of scooch a little closer. I'm about 6 feet away. I don't want to like crowd her. And I say, so darling, I saw you out there. It's pretty wild. What's your story? Are you from an ice planet or?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't think they were looking for me.
Yeah, they might not have been looking for you, but also, I don't know, pretty girls like you wearing cloaks around.
That might be so, but, I'm just an apprentice. I'm really no one. I'm just here to get to the next stop, and, it was a mistake. It must have been. They couldn't have been looking for me. I'm not from around here.
I kind of let that sit for a second, and I size her up again, and I open up my palm and put it out toward her. And when I open up my fingers, like this burst of kind of yellow and green fairy lights kind of like pop out of my palm. And I kind of show it to her. And I say, oh, I could have sworn you were, a sister. But I'm not here to step on your toes. Just figured I'd tell you, if you need a friend, my name's Bronwyn. I'd be more than happy to, watch your back.
Color happens. It's rare, but it does happen. And Hester almost reaches out. It's like a reflex, but takes it back. Oh, well, maybe I'll take you up on that. I don't have any sisters.
there's no limit to the number of sisters you can have when you're in my line of trade, but you know, you seem a little different. And I don't know. I'm pretty curious about you, but I don't want to intrude. I see you're trying to, you know, enjoy the stars, so I'll be over here if you need me. And I kind of step back to where I was before and just kind of silently look out and give her a moment to decide how she feels.
There's definitely not gonna unravel anything yet.
Yeah, okay.
But she's looking out the window and kind of aware of the proximity, and her own hand is just sort of just moving about, flexing. Maybe she would have liked to make something for Bronwyn too, but it's too soon.
All right.
I was just almost captured. But perhaps on the window where she was touching her hands, a small frost appeared.
Small web of ice crystals lingers on the window where you were. As we fade over to our historian, Iris.
Yeah, Iris is being nosy. He wants to see what kind of people are on this vessel. She wants to nose about the captain's quarters, but she's trying to remain mostly unseen.
Okay. So you move about the ship. Most of the ships appears to be open, you know, in the sense the rooms for the crew are not particularly private. You know, it's several bunk rooms basically for the crew. You do asking around, learn where the captain's quarters are, but no one like offers necessarily to leave their station in order to take you to them. You know that the lower decks are mostly given over to cargo.
Okay.
Or the engine room, and the stoking fires for the engines and that sort of thing. And then there's a tertiary cargo container underslung on the bottom of the ship. And the upper decks are mostly given over to space for the crew and the observation room and occasional staterooms for passengers like yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I think she would take special note of the cargo, and then of the captain's room, just to see if there's anything extra special. 'Cause she knows that captains often have spots where they hide maybe the extra good stuff, whatever that could be.
And what would be your first choice in investigation?
I mean, if she can check the captain's room itself, she would. But maybe to hope if she moves fast enough that everybody will still be kind of getting everything together for the voyage that has just been has just gone underway.
Yeah, you know, at this moment, the captain's definitely up on the bridge, navigating towards the ley line checkpoints. Give me a stealth roll to see if you can get there without other people noticing.
Eek!
All right, so that's a 3. Call out your what was your number there? You rolled a 3. 3.
I think I would like use a Benny.
All right, you feel free. So oh, there you go.
That is a 7.
Excellent.
Better.
Much better. It is a success. So you managed to suss out where the captain's cabin is, and at a moment when there's no crew necessarily in the hallways nearby, you very deftly lift the latch to the door and slide into the room. The room is not particularly ostentatious for a ship's captain. It's fairly sparse. The captain seems pretty organized, everything very neatly put away. There are a couple of chests and some cabinets and closets that you could go through in here. But nothing left out necessarily, just haphazardly.
Oh, yes, I then would open drawers. I would open cabinets. I would try to mess with any picture frames. I would try to look behind bookshelves if I could. Things of that nature.
All right.
Pull on
all right.
levers, books. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the way I like to handle searching for clues is that I will ask for a notice roll. You will never, ever be denied a clue in my game. You will always find all the clues that there are to be found in a location if you go looking. What your notice roll actually entails is how much of a mess you leave behind in your search. So
Nice.
give me a notice roll. And with a success, you'll find everything. But if you fail, you'll still find everything. You'll just leave a trail that someone was there.
Oh, come on!
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 3.
All right. 3 is not a success. So you should have a couple more bennies if you would like to spend one, or just take the roll as is.
I'll take the roll as is. More fun that way.
Okay. So you leave behind some inclining. It's never going to be as clean and orderly after being ransacked as it was when you first came in.
Of course.
Things are just not in the right place anymore. You do find the captain's navigation logs, which is really interesting because normally the role of navigator is done by somebody other than the captain on board a ship. But it looks like all the navigation books and all the quartermastering on board the ship are done by the captain himself, instead of delegating it to some other crewman. And there's a list in the quartermaster's logs. There's a list of all the various cargo that have been taken on board. And so you find that, and then the navigation, and then you find the navigation logs of where they are, what ports they have planned in their itinerary, where they're heading next, and where they've been the last 2 or 3 months, essentially. It would take some time, however, to discern what this information has to say. If you stay here and read the books or take them with you, it's up to you.
That is a good point. Okay, yeah, I'm going to take them to try and copy down any pertinent information and then return them is the goal.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, taking them's fine. It's probably a good sign of, how things are going to be, if things are going to be noticed that are out of sort, is that the books are no longer there. So you slip out of the captain's cabin with the logbook and cargo manifest tucked under one arm, and head back to your quarters, your stateroom.
Yes.
All right. Where you have about an hour or so before dinner, which would be just enough time to kind of scour over one of the books thoroughly.
Okay.
Which one?
Okay, I'll do that. Tell me what the first one was again.
Cargo manifest, and the other one is the
Nav logs.
Yeah, the navigation logs.
I would look at the cargo manifest.
All right, give me an academics roll.
All right.
We're using this in place of research and all that sort of stuff. All right.
I got a 1 and a 3.
All right. So
This is important, so I'm going to use a Benny for this one.
All right.
Okay, that's a 5.
All right. So I'm sorry, you said the cargo manifest, right? Or was it the nav? Yeah. Okay. All right, so going through the cargo manifest, you see most of the cargo that he appears to take on is standard fare. Some fine goods, rugs, knickknacks that are going to be sold for that are being carted off to some other planet where they'll be given to some trading company who's going to sell them. He's taking in. He's not doing a whole lot of sales himself or anything like that. He's just contracting for goods being transported to one place to another. But so there isn't necessarily anything specifically of note here, nothing unusual in the cargo, except for with a ship of this size, you expect him to have been bringing in more cargo than he does.
Okay.
He's consistently traveling with 75% cargo, leaving a good portion of what should be what the ship could haul empty.
Okay, interesting.
That's about all the time you have to sort out.
Okay.
Do you keep the books, or then there's a knock at the door from the ship's crew, basically calling people to meal.
Yes.
Just a quick rap at the door saying dinner's going to be in 10 minutes.
Oh, wonderful. The food that I can't eat anymore. Phew.
The guy gets flustered. I'm sorry, but the captain would enjoy your company.
Yes, well, whatever the captain wants then, correct? Just yells this through the door. She doesn't even open the door.
We cut to the captain's dining room, which is located just off the main mess hall in the kitchens, not too separated from the rest of the crew. And it's on the deck below the bridge. Zeth and Corin, you are considered members of the senior crew, and so you are usually invited to the table for this sort of thing, along with the other two members of the senior crew, other than the captain, Bronwyn. When you walk in, you see Zeth and Corin and the captain are there, along with a very old-looking man with very grizzled, worn face. He looks almost sunburned from heat. His hair cut short is gray, and the eyebrows and patches of his beard all appear singed in places. He of course turns to and kind of looking at you and gives a very polite nod as you come into the room. And the other member of the crew whom you haven't met yet is a very very tall and thin, dark-skinned woman with her hair cut very short and very long, thin, slender neck. And as you sit, they introduce themselves to you. She just says, "My name is Esma. How do you do?"
Esma, you say?
Esma Rose.
It's nice to meet you. I'm Bronwyn.
And the old man goes, "Hi, I'm Yorgos. How do you do?"
Yorgos, nice to meet you. I look over at Corin. Hello, good evening. Nice to see you again. I look over at Zeth and I'm like, and you? Again. Captain, it's so wonderful to see you and finally meet you in person. I've heard so much about you. Your crew is very loyal.
I try to maintain a ship where they have a reason to be loyal. Good to your crew, and they will treat you well, is my motto.
Yeah, so you're the kind of guy who tries to do everything right?
As much as I can.
Interesting.
Esther, you arrive second.
I am inwardly surprised that I came. because this is a social event. This is exactly the kind of thing I'm trying to avoid, but I have made this realization at some point, probably after having a real conversation, that I need to blend in better, and being shady is not accomplishing that, especially with a historian on board. That was not something I knew was going to happen, and I am feeling edgy. So I am attempting, this is my best take on a person who travels. So I've walked into the room. I am doing something with my body that insinuates that no, I am not nervous, but I might be ill or uncomfortable, and maybe my clothes don't fit right. They seem to, but why would I curl that way and not just be like a regular human? It's unclear. But I enter the room, I scan the table, and I try to sit as close as I can to the captain, who right now is the only individual that I know to be safe.
Okay. You're introduced to the other new members of the crew, Esmer Rose and Yorgos. And and the last to arrive is the historian herself, Iris. And the captain rises and he says, "Your Grace, I'm so glad you chose to attend. I know we do not necessarily provide you with sustenance that you would require, but perhaps my company and our conversation will sustain you."
I do quite appreciate good conversation, so I will take you up on that, and also by chance, I could probably get one of your crew members to wind me up at the end of the night.
Oh, yes, we can make sure that there is a clockwork port is brought to your room to assist you in such matters.
Thank you. Yes, I would quite appreciate that indeed. And she comes over and just stands kind of right by the captain, and then looks to see if there's an empty seat beside the captain, and if there isn't, she's going to stare directly at whomever is seated next to the captain until they move.
Are any either of the crew going to argue for the alternate seat next to the captain? If not, then he'll have Hester on one arm, and he'll be sitting at the head of the table with Hester on one side and the historian directly opposite her.
I would imagine that, we've been part of his crew for a while, so it would seem to me that there's probably at least some form of established protocol where like probably Zeth and I would think Zeth and Karen sit together, but they're probably separated by at least a few chairs from the captain so that he can have the stately honored guests sit on the left and the right of the captain to enjoy conversation with him. So it would only be if Bronwyn and Hester were on either side that Iris would have to fight one of them.
And as you sit there and dinner is brought out by a couple of crew, basically bringing out some food before they go get a chance to sit down and eat themselves. You hear all sorts of weird slamming of pots and pans and little frying noises coming from the kitchens, and a bellowing voice that says, "Is best cook!" He's really quite proud.
Well, I would never know.
He's harmless. Trust me. He's such a sweet man.
Well, what does it taste like?
Kind of like poke at the food. What's on my plate?
It's a collection of stewed vegetables and some unidentifiable meat.
Well, the meat is kind of good. I'm not gonna eat these plants though. Maybe the potatoes.
Oh, well, maybe I'm not missing much after all then. No offense.
I look over at Zeph and I go, I bet you love the stewed vegetables, don't you? Probably just shove them in your face.
Yeah, I usually eat whatever the chef makes. He's a pretty good cook and a nice guy, too. So, it's tasty.
I'll bet.
A historian. Do you, was there a particular destination that you're looking to be traveling to? I can't imagine that you're here to visit my simple cargo ship.
Oh, well, no, of course not. I would not be here just to see your ship. Wouldn't that be quite ridiculous? No, you just happen to be going the direction that I was interested in going next. And it was quite convenient for me indeed. And you carry the most interesting cargo that I've ever seen. You know, we have the ship's manifests, us historians, because of course we have access to whatever we want. And I have seen that you ship some interesting things, and I would love to hear stories about that maybe I could record for posterity's sake.
Well, I don't imagine it's of that much interest. It is merely supplies and luxury items that the various colonies find useful. I take on the contracts from supply houses and then deliver the goods when they need to go. I can't imagine it's that fascinating.
You can't tell me that there must not be the occasional special item that you must transport. Or do you lead such a boring life as to only ship supplies to and fro?
The captain always says that the only special cargo we take are the guests. Ain't that right, Corin?
That would be true. There's nothing unimportant on this ship.
Isn't that nice of you? Wow. Well, that's quite interesting. Well, I would love to hear more. And she's just going to continue to keep the captain's attention as much as possible, just asking lots of questions in the same manner.
Yes. He listens politely, and occasionally asks a few questions of his own. He seems, at one point he's like, so, as a historian, I've always wondered, what is the purpose of all this acquisition of knowledge in which you strive?
Oh, what isn't? I mean, knowledge. To have it, to be able to travel the world, the universe, the galaxy, and find all the different things and different minds that have been discovered over time. To be able to compile that all together, can you imagine what you can do with that?
But does the ministry do anything with it?
Oh, well, that's another thing entirely. The ministry and what they are doing and what they are using it for, well, those things don't always align as far as I'm concerned. But what am I but one wonderful, albeit, but just one historian?
You are a historian, yes. It seems like you have the spirit of an explorer.
Oh, well, I would say only another explorer would see such a thing. But yes.
I am fond of finding new places, yes. Sometimes my ship will wander from its assigned course if I encounter something interesting.
Well, just say, you went to explore a new place such as this, and you found something that you wanted to bring back with you. Where would you keep it? I mean, I imagine you must keep a ship such as this full at all times. as would make the most sense for the money you wish to make.
I do not do this for profit. I know it may seem unusual. I see my goals are higher than that. I believe in building a better future for my people, for our people. I think that is a truly noble endeavor.
Oh. Well, I
That's
must say
the
I'm quite
only reason
surprised.
I'm on board.
You're here.
Yeah, I've been here for a while. The captain's got a really good idea about what we should be doing out here in the stars and among the people of the galaxy. It's, pretty noble, and in my opinion, it's a righteous path and a righteous quest. So, I stick around because this is also a pretty incredible ship, and well, I love fixing it and working on it, and it's it's a good job. But beyond that, I'm very curious. We've never had a historian on board before, and I'm confused because if you get all this information, knowledge, etc., but it sounded like you don't do anything with it, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Why would I do anything with it? I'm here to gather it. It is not my job. It is the ministry's job, and I have different feelings on what should be done with it. But they don't ask me most of the time, unfortunately, even though they probably should.
That's really interesting. See, me, if I'm gonna learn something, I want it to be something that I can apply. If I want to know how to make something new, or if I need to figure out how to fix the ship in a different way, etc. I often have interesting conversations with the navigator because, goodness gracious, the mathematics that he knows, they boggle the mind. So, what kind of information do you collect?
Well, I collect all sorts of information. And the thing that is so nice about what I get to do is that when I have my say, I get to try to collect the information that I find the most interesting. And those, much like the captain has said, are the ones that we have yet to discover, the new things that are for the future to know. That's what I find interesting. Or secrets that have been hidden along the way.
Well, I'm not sure if you'll find this to be a secret. Were you aware of the make and model of the ship?
Well, probably, yes, somewhere, but refresh me.
The light of day. He kind of caresses the table as if he's touching the ship itself. He goes, here's a Samson-class frigate. You're aware of the terminology of a frigate, yes?
Zeph is just beaming as the captain talks about the ship. Like, there's so much pride written on his features right now that it's very obvious to everyone.
He turns to look towards Hester and says, are you aware of what a frigate is?
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Of course. It's not my realm of expertise. But
what would that be then?
It's really not interesting. I don't want to bore you fine folks at this dinner about, and I'm just like a student apprentice from a very backwater planet, and
You aren't making any sense at all. You're just saying a string of random things at this point. That has nothing to do with a frigate.
She just said that she's an apprentice.
I thought you said you knew what one was. Do you need my definition?
Of course I do. Of course I do.
Well, I guess we don't have to share then.
Yes, you are quite right. Maybe we do not have to share, since it is clear that you have things that you wish to not share with any of us here at the table.
The captain
If you're
seems.
looking to write a story about the collection of refined liquids on, outer rim planets, then I guess we could have a conversation. But it's just that I have a biological need here that I am sating, and I just don't want to ruin the air.
You know, Iris, I have to ask you. You're a historian now, sure, but you were once a lady. I'm sure you understand. Even porcelain ladies, they need a little secret sometimes. I'm sure you have things you wouldn't want me digging into, yeah?
Whenever you say that, her whole demeanor changes. And she kind of, it's almost like she just kind of looks down, almost like her mind is somewhere else. And then she looks back and to you and says, "Oh, yes, you're quite right. Yes, of course, we are all entitled to our secrets. Anyway, I think, Captain, that you were telling us about the ship," and she very clearly kind of lets it go. She goes on. Something you said did something.
Thank you for watching Valor Studios on YouTube. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
Sit back and just kind of like, I see this subtle change, and now like I can't look away. Like I'm just kind of like eyeing her the rest of the night. Like I want to know everything that's happening over there.
He goes, the captain returns to his tale. He says, "A frigate is a warship. The Light of Day was built during the Manstrasse War. It was used to hunt and kill, with a confirmed list of over 120 ships destroyed in the war. Given an extra average of 20 men per ship, that's over 2,000 lives lost. The guns of the Light of Day. You stripped out the weapons when the ship was to be retired after the war ended. I'm trying to get it put to better uses, tending to the weak and the needy. That is what the Light of Day should mean."
You're a captain. You're a regular Joan of Arc.
I am unfamiliar with this person. Perhaps you should tell me more.
Some ancient lady that decided that her life was worth less than peace. Like you. Here you are on this ship, piloting it, flying around the stars. You could literally go anywhere, do anywhere, with anything. And for some reason, you choose these two hooligans. And to be, what? A good guy? Something that's, someone's gonna save the day? You make no enemies?
Did she just
Everyone's
call
got
us
enemies,
hooligans?
Esmer rose over and goes, "I think she called you a hooligan."
That's correct.
she's
I would never call
probably
you that
right.
lovely.
Esmer kind of looks towards you and goes, "I have to speak up for Zeth. He is a fine individual, and well, he can be long-winded. I don't think you should discount him as necessarily. He's one of the best engineers I've ever served on a ship with."
I'm sure he's quite good at his job. He looks it. But I'm just saying, you can't trust him. At least I can't.
Speaking of how Zeth looks, anyone that cares to notice would see that he's still pretty much wearing his same like greasy shirt and overalls, but he's put on this sort of like rough jacket that goes over top of it. It's, it's a button down kind of almost like think of like a French field jacket or a British field jacket or something like that. It looks sort of loosely military in its cut, but it's definitely super out of place with what he's wearing underneath it. And there's probably like stains on the sleeve from him, just basically like he would probably have said at some point like, oh, thanks, Esmer, and like just wiped this huge glob of grease or whatever he was eating off of his mouth and that kind of thing. So he's just looking sort of pointedly at Bronwyn like, yeah, what she said.
Esmer, I'm not trying to say he's useless. I'm just saying I can't trust people like that. I'm not one for
Well, why would you trust?
Interplanetary. I'm not one for interplanetary prejudice. That's not.
Well, why would you
what I'm
trust
about.
me? We just met. That doesn't make any sense. I don't trust someone I just met. I mean, I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, but trust takes time, doesn't it?
Trust does take time, but for you, honey, it's gonna be forever. Your people don't know how to keep their teeth to themselves.
Oh, interesting.
Iris, I don't have to remind you. You probably know all about it.
Yes,
how they treated the Nari.
Yes, but I've never seen it play out in person before. It's quite interesting. Of course, you would be quite upset to be in such a presence. You do know, she's looking to Zeth, you do know that your people, ate our good friends' people over here. Did you not know that? How awkward for you.
I'm not an idiot, and I did go to school, and I know all about the history. I just personally try to make my own judgments about people as individuals. But that's just my way, and I accept other people for the way they are. If she wants to treat me differently, that's okay. It doesn't bother me at all.
It's not that. It's just, you see all those big flat teeth in his mouth? You see them? Yeah.
Yes, quite.
Those are for chomping down on plants. So no, I don't think you've got my best interest in mind, other than the fact that I've bought a ticket to your ship. Anyway, Captain, this gentleman not included, tell me a little bit more about what attracted you to all of these colorful individuals on your ship.
Well,
Your spits out a vegetable.
Corin. He turns to Corin and goes, Corin is an excellent spiritualist. His skills with talking to the creatures on the other side of the spirit realm been very useful in navigation calculations and long-range communications. And his talent has been of great use to me. And as kin, we serve well together. We know each other's ways.
You can say I'm too old, Captain.
You're not old, Corin. You're ancient.
Well, can't be too old, though.
Zeth and I served together on the light of day for years before I became the captain. He's a trusted friend. Stoker, Yorgos here, he's the best man to keep the fires going in the belly of the ship. Another long-term crewman of the light of day. Esma, she's new-ish, but an excellent master gunner.
Yeah, but Yorgi, I'm sure that you do other stuff on the ship, right? You and Esma, you guys probably maybe like to shake a little things up just in case things get a little haywire. We had a little bit of trouble ourselves before we got to the docks.
We did have trouble indeed. It was quite frustrating. If they just let me handle it, I could have dispatched with them handily on my own, of course.
Iris, if you don't mind me saying, I have to say that what's your name again? Seth was very ungentlemanly and picked this
It's
woman up,
Zeph, but
threw her over his shoulder like some kind of barbarian out of a talkie.
This is what I was trying to tell you when I arrived at the ship, but it is forgotten. I understand that you have a crew that you clearly are very loyal to and vice versa. But I will say, and she turns to you, Bronwyn, I like you. I like you quite indeed. This is quite rare that I like anyone, so
Right
have that
back
honor.
at you, cutie.
Well, she kind of doesn't know what to do with herself for a little bit. She's kind of, and then eventually turns back in. Anyway, Captain, you were the ship and your mission that you were saying about.
Yes. Well, I don't have much else to say on the matter. I suppose I've come to the point of my argument that I've taken a weapon of war and turned it into something that I hope will be a positive influence. You, I hope, are taking the information that you're gathering and applying it similarly.
Oh, right. Yes, well, I have much a similar feeling that we should be gathering information for the good of all. Whether or not they always know it is good for them.
I'm glad to hear it. Well,
Yes.
the time is certainly come past due. I see that, Esther, you appear to have finished your plate.
Well, yeah, if everybody's
it's
done,
okay. You can
theirs.
have seconds if you want.
Yes, please. I, however, must return to my duties. He rises from the table. He says, "Thank you all for coming. Please, continue the conversation." And he kind of scoots out from behind the table, pushes his chair in, and he says, "If you'd like to talk some more, I'll be on the bridge."
Did you all get dessert?
Gregor makes best dessert coming up.
Oh, well, I hope that's
And-
true for your sake.
And we'll kind of end that scene right there. Does anybody take the captain up on his offer to go visit him on the bridge? All right, Bronwyn.
I don't want to go with him though. I would like to observe him.
Yeah. I mean, he leaves early before the dessert was brought out, and then you guys can catch up with him later.
Got a captain here that doesn't eat pie.
The historian.
She wants to go snoop around cargo and see if there
of course you do.
is see if there is like a literal space that is being taken up with something else in cargo.
Okay.
She's trying to see what that 75%
Right.
issue is.
So, we're gonna. This will be very easily done. Iris, give me a notice roll as you're searching the cargo area.
Okay.
Wandering about the several cargo bays, looking to see what could possibly. Well, what'd you get?
Got a 4.
4. That is a success. So as you wander about the ship, kind of judging it, pacing off its size from the inside, you find a section where there's basically, you come to a bulkhead where it doesn't appear to be, where there should be more ship, in your opinion. And it just seems to stop. And you go looking around for why this might be. And then deep in the lower decks, you find at the far end of a cargo hold, you find what appears to be a large hatch that is more complicated than the others that you've seen on the ship so far. You would almost call it the door to a vault.
Yeah, I want to go and look at that a little bit closer and see if I can figure out how it opens.
It appears to be a clockwork combination lock.
Oh, cool. Well, she's already excited about that. So she knows the captain's on the bridge right now, and I do feel like she would take the opportunities that she has and see if she can figure out how to open this. So let's see here. I have I'm an expert tinkerer. Devices, and I know that's making a device, but is there a way with that kind of knowledge that I could essentially understand a device? I mean, that may just still be a different role, but I'm just kind of thinking of what I have.
Well, to try and suss out the combination of the lock would probably fall into the category of thievery, which you can always attempt unskilled. Especially with your knowledge of clockwork mechanisms.
Right. Yeah, I mean, she's going to try it. She's going to try it, but it is unskilled. Okay. I got a 2.
A 2. All right, so it is a very complicated combination lock, and you fiddle with it for a bit, but cannot, it will not just bend it to your will, unfortunately. You will have to somehow figure out another means of entrance.
Okay. I have another thing I would like to try if I can.
Certainly.
So she kind of listens to the clockwork for a little bit, she like turns things or moves anything she can move and tries to understand it, but she's just not getting anywhere, and she gets frustrated. And so she reaches into her coat and she pulls out this little mechanism that kind of looks like this little thing with 4 legs, and in the center it's holding a bunch of different vials, and then it has a syringe that's kind of on the top of it. And what I'm trying to utilize is boost lower trait. And I want to see if I can up a trait or lower something here that could benefit me. Now, can I use a trait? Could I up a trait that's unskilled?
You can use it. Yeah, you can use it to increase your thievery, basically to give you a thievery skill. Yeah, temporarily. Yeah.
This is what I want to do. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a little clockwork machine, and it kind of comes over, and I select which vial, looking at it, this one, and then get it to inject me. Wow, that makes me real sad. That's a 3.
3. Okay, 3 is not a success. You're trying.
I want to use a Benny.
All right, go ahead.
Oh boy.
There we go. What'd you roll that time?
There we go. That's a 9.
All right. So the easiest way to do this is that that's a success and a raise, which would allow you to be equivalent of boosting it twice. And the easiest way for us to do that is for you to just pick a D6 skill that you do have at the moment, and we'll roll that as if it was your thievery.
Okay, academics it is.
3.
Keep those
3.
pennies going.
I'm giving you another Benny because for the fine job you got at the during the dinner there.
I'm gonna use that Benny and re-roll this.
All right.
Oh my god!
Critical failure.
Oh my god!
All right.
It's just not meant to be.
I want to know what's in the thing so bad that I'm about to donate a Benny.
So with a critical failure, that's it. You have to stop, right? You have to accept those snake eyes rolls. There's nothing else you can do about it.
Is that that's a critical? Oh no, that wasn't on it was on thievery. Okay.
Yeah, it was on the thievery. Right. So you are frustrated because and all ready to give up when you hear footsteps coming down the hall.
Oh boy, she's gonna try to hide.
And the captain actually appears. Comes into the cargo room adjacent to the vault. and you see him move, kind of look around. Give me a stealth roll.
Ooh,
There we go.
Illusion.
Yeah. What'd you roll?
8.
Hey, that is a success and a raise. So he does not take any notice that you're there. He comes in, he moves over to one of the cargo crates, and he kind of looks around, making sure that he's alone. And with his one of his clawed fingers, kind of like slides them into the seam in the crate and kind of pries open the crate. And inside there's a bunch of hay and packing material and stuffing, and he pulls out a small copper urn and closes it down, pressing the nails back into place. Turns towards the vault, begins to dial the combination.
Can I see the combination?
Give me a notice roll.
Okay. Oh, right. Not these dice.
A moment in CSI where they're like, zoom in.
Enhance.
Enhance.
So like I said, I'm going to stick to my...
Iris can probably do that.
I'm going to stick to my my normal rules on this. You get the combination, but you get noticed.
Whoops.
You lean out too far. You make too much of a noise, shuffling, but it's too late. He's opened you see the combination as he opens the vault. And then that's when, as you're leaning over to get the last bit of it, you knock a crate out of place, and there's a large crashing sound off to the side. And he turns to look, and he sees you standing there.
Oh my! What is all of this mess? Captain. It's I was just trying to find an area to store some of my devices that I've been working on, and then I thought you were on the bridge.
I had to take care of something.
Oh, wow. Good. She kind of sets up whatever, tries to pick up whatever she knocked over.
Can I be of any assistance?
Oh, no, not at all. Except, I do see here, though, that you have a vault, which is wonderful, as I do tend to travel with valuables. As it's just part of the work. But it would be great to have a space where I knew it was safe.
He stares quietly for a moment. You can see a sense of defeat come across him.
Oh, no.
He goes, yes. Well, I suppose you would find your way in one way or another. He seems conflicted. He goes, I will show you the vault.
Oh, well, to you then.
He opens the door, swings wide, and he walks in, and you see within a vault takes over a significant portion of the front of the light of day section, and it is filled with boxes, smaller boxes, not crates, not like the large cargo crates that you see in other places, but small, handcrafted, custom-made storage boxes fitted onto shelves, a collection of strange and unusual shapes and designs, not made by any one maker, but rather a whole handful of different designs. And also sections where the vertical storage shelves for like long, tall things slid into place. He moves into this space, finds a shelf, and begins to secure the strange copper urn into another box there. Then turns to look towards you, and he says, "This is my private collection of things I have found in my travel."
Oh, so I was right. Interesting. She goes around and she looks at things, picks things up if she can. And she says, "What are any of these? What is this one? Is it valuable? What is it? Where did you get it?"
Please be careful.
Yeah.
These things are precious and unpredictable.
Oh, unpredictable how?
This was a mistake. Please.
No. It's not a mistake. I won't touch. She kind of backs away. I won't touch anything. I just would like to know more. And also, I'm curious about why someone else would want to know about your vault. What's so important about what you have in here? That's what I want.
This is a part of my efforts to make the universe a better place. Part of what I was talking about at dinner. There are things beyond even the ministry's knowledge. Things that are, in my opinion, perhaps kept out of the ministry.
Why would they be best to be kept out of the ministry? And why would the ministry want this information so bad?
You would have to tell me that. You are the agent of the ministry on board this ship, are you not?
Yes. Yes, I am, but it's not like they always specify the reason for some of the things.
There's a lurch in the ship.
Oh.
Everyone feels it across the whole place. The ship just, captain turns to look and goes, "That's not supposed to happen."
What is it? We're in space.
There's another ripple and a shudder that kind of runs down the length of the fuselage. He goes, "I must return to the bridge. Please." And he kind of motions you out of the vault.
Of course. And she hurries out of the vault, but she probably tries to grab something on the way if she can.
You still have that extra boost from earlier.
Great. Okay.
Iris is so bad.
Oh God! I got a 3.
Now, you try and grab something, but the captain hustles you out. He closes the door behind him. But I will remind you, you did get a glimpse at the combination.
Damn.
He hurries back up to the out of the cargo area and back up towards the bridge, passing the most of the crew along the way. If anybody wants to have a word with the captain on the way back to the bridge.
Do we know what happened?
No, you're not sure. It's a very unusual thing for there to be turbulence in the ether like that.
So Corin's plodding along behind them as he's like slowing up because they're all quicker than him.
Mm-hmm.
He's moving along beside Zeth, and he's too slow to catch up to the captain.
Mm-hmm.
Zeth, what was that?
I was just gonna ask you the same thing. He puts his hand on like one of the bulkheads or something as if he's like listening to the ship or trying to feel what the ship is feeling.
You get a strange shimmering feeling from the ship. It's the vibration that is coursing through the deck that is not what you would normally expect. There is, and then there's another shudder, and everyone's thrown from one side of the ship to the other, and then a jerking, shaking, stopping sensation, and all of a sudden, that background thrust of vibration that has been that you become accustomed to, and then kind of faded away, cuts out entirely, and you realize that the ship has stopped moving at all. But there's a strange gravitational pull in completely the wrong direction. perpendicular to the plating of the ship. As you can see things go tumbling across the hallways and out of rooms and stick to the far side of the ship. And you can hear this creaking, groaning, snapping noises echo through the structure of the ship. You race to a window as the captain makes it up to the bridge, and out through the ports, you can see the ship is returned to normal space. There is a giant spiral flare of fire encircling the deepest and blackest hole in space you have ever seen. The ship groans and creaks as if to snap in half. One last scene. As the ship shudders and shakes again, the small copper urn in the vault wobbles and wobbles again and rolls off the shelf, its cap popping off as it impacts onto the floor of the vault. A black crystalline sand falls out and scatters across the floor. At first, it seems merely a problem for a cleaning crew. But as we begin to pull in on the sand, blue sparks begin arcing between the grains. And that's where we're going to call it the night.
Wow.
Not good. I tell you that.
Dang.
It's not good.
No.
Whatever it is.
Well, at least I ate 4 dinners.
I'm not going to die hungry.
That earns energy. What is everybody else doing? Putting it away. I guess I better put it away the hardest.
Okay, well, thank you all for tuning in. This has been episode 1 of Axion. Let's real quickly go around and meet our cast in their real forms. We're going to start with, we're going to go in the same order that we were to them at the beginning of the episode. So let's start with who is playing Hester.
Hello, I'm actually Taylor. And I do this when we do this. And when I'm not doing this, I'm doing, oh my God, I'm playing Mörkborg with some people on Dragon's Duel, the 4th culture. And I'm also playing Running Feywild with Nat 1 Fun. Those are streams. You can see them, pictures. But my real full-time thing is Backwater Bastards, a sci-fi, comedy, fairly adult space adventure podcast that drops on Thursdays. But you can listen to it whenever you want because there's like over 4,000 recorded hours. So I'm pretty sure if you start now, it's going to take you a couple of minutes. It's a doozy. Don't play it at work or in front of your grandma. There's stuff. But that's my baby, and so that's what I'm doing like 24/7. And when I'm not doing that, I'm on Twitter saying the F word. So see you there.
All right, next, I believe next up we met Zeth, the Hakar. Who are you, really?
Well, I am Gregory, also known as 1 in 20 D&D online. I do some YouTube stuff. Mostly I've been hanging out with Valor Studios, loving these streams and the recordings that we're doing. It's all amazing. You can check me out on Twitter, on Twitch rather. I do stream periodically. I've done a little bit of Minecraft lately just because I've been bored and it's fun. But I have my own show, like game that I'm running, but mostly it's YouTube or Valor Studios. Those are the best places to find me.
Next up, we had our fine historian.
Hi, I'm Megan Caves, and you can find me, it depends on when you're seeing this, but Harbingers is my current baby, and it is a Savage Worlds show on my channel, my YouTube channel, my production company's channel, which is Gone Rogue Entertainment, and you can check that out. We are actually airing the finale this Friday, so that's probably not going to be when this comes out, but right after that, I'm playing Ladies of D&D. That's Ladies of Lake is the show on Ladies of D&D Twitch channel. And that's going to be fun. We're going to be 1980s rockers in a fantasy world.
Ooh,
Yes.
very nice.
Yeah,
that
so
sounds
that's going to be
The dream.
it's going to be fun. But yeah, so check that out when that comes out. I don't know. There's some other things happening. The best place to find me is at Megan Caves, MEGHANCAVES on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I keep things up to date there. Check out Harbingers. We're going to do season 3. That's going to be announced what it is soon. So yeah, but it's Savage Worlds. So if you like that, I got more for you. If you like horror, come hang out with me.
Oh yeah, very nice. I've seen the some of the Deadlands streams you did. Nice.
Yes. Thank you.
Next up, we had Bronwyn. Who are you?
Hi, everyone.
Who
I'm
are
Candace.
you?
And what gives you the right? My name is Candace, also known as Candace Magnificent. You can find me on Twitter and Discord at That Candace Girl. You can find me on Twitch and Instagram and YouTube at Candace the Magnificent. If you are on Twitch or YouTube, I do ice cream reviews on YouTube. And on Twitch, I do a kind of a mishmash of things, really. I do ukulele concerts. I stream video games, and I'm probably going to be doing some Lego sets as well eventually. That was my first stream. I got to get back to that.
Yeah.
You can find me doing more TTRPG streams. I will be in Masks, which is going to be an every other week game starting on the 12th, as well as for this month, for Pride Month. Happy Pride. For Pride Month, you can find me, both of those, Masks and this upcoming game, will both be on Todd Moonbounce's channel. So please take a look at that. It's going to be a full month. Every Tuesday in June at 8 p.m., we are going to have Thirsty Sword Lesbians for this like big charity stream. All the proceeds are going to be going to the Trevor Project to keep LGBTQIA plus kids safe and happy and healthy. And the third one, I think, this will probably go live around that time. April Kit Walsh herself, the author of Thirsty Sword Lesbians, is going to be running a game for us. So
Nice.
please come by. Please feel free to donate. Let me separate you from your money for a good cause. And you can also find me on Valor Studios channel as well, and a bunch of really great things that they've done, including Deadlands from last year, where Cheyenne was the GM, and Tales of Valor, where you can catch, I think, most of us. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Oh, and Carrie Smith's channel on the 16th of June, I will be doing a one-shot of Outbreak Undead. So by the time this airs, that'll probably already be done. So VOD, my friends.
Hey, very nice. And last but not least, Corin. Who are you?
Well, I'm Kai. Kai Roche. You can find me on Twitter at Real Kai Roche. Would you believe it?
What?
As well, you can find me on Twitch.
Except substitutes.
Never. As well, you can find me on Twitch at Roll for Chaos, RF Chaos. I play Captain Leifei Ariane, the assassin rogue master of spacefaring upon the ship for the delinquents.
Nice.
I try. As well, you can find me on my channel, Mascane on Twitch. I stream games sometimes. I'm preparing for some DM prep sessions, sort of talk with chat, make a world together.
And I've been Cheyenne Wright, who you can find me on Twitter at Cheyenne Wright. I am a freelance illustrator, and I make a comic book series that has been going on for 20 years now with Phil and Kaya Folio called Girl Genius. We are currently on volume 23 of our graphic novel series. I've won 3 Hugo Awards for them some time ago. Other than that, I hang out with these folks, hooking up fun stuff with, we did Dungeons of Discordia and Deadlands, and Axion has been a thing I've had in my back pocket for a long, long time. I've been wanting to do this little steampunk space opera, and this is just one small corner of it. It is vast and far too nerdy for me to entail entirely here. But I hope you've enjoyed this little peek into it, and more suspense and danger to come. I assure you. So tune in for the next installment where we, all heck is going to break loose on the light of day. So thank you very much for tuning in. I'll turn this last bit over to Greg, who has some stuff about Valor Studios.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Hey, we here at Valor Studios are a TTRPG content creation community. We love sharing stories with the world. You can find our catalog of VODs on YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, thank you for doing that. And, why not come on over to Twitch and come hang out with us when we do this live? You can see the summary of all of that information and more at our website, valorstudios.com. Without further ado, thank you and good night.
Thank you for watching Valor Studios on YouTube. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications.